Hello there vinyl community, it's Paul from Circular Motion bringing you another video. First of all, thank you to everybody who has been checking out my video so far, and for the subscriptions and for the kind comments and the likes. I really appreciate it. I'm stuck in lockdown, so I've not got a lot of new stuff to bring you, so I'm going to do a bit of a rundown of what's been jamming up the turntable this week, and hopefully you'll find that interesting. I've got a few choice cuts, I think, and then I've got a couple of new old records to share with you that I've tracked down on eBay, which has been my only really source of digging, as we are still unable to go to any shops other than supermarkets and garden centres and DIY shops. So without further ado, I'm going to kick off just with what I've been listening to this week. So first up, does anybody remember this? So this is GNR Lies. It's got 4 studio tracks on one side and then some live tracks on the other side. So half of it was recorded in 1986, that's the live stuff, and the other half, the studio tracks, was recorded in 1988, and this is actually a 1988 copy. It's an original copy. Don't tell YouTube I'm showing you boobs. Very quickly, it's original. It's in pretty decent condition. I've had this since it came out. Basically, it's one of the few things I didn't part with, and I'm really pleased I didn't. It sounds really good. And secondly, sticking on that theme, I've got an original copy of Welcome to the Jungle. So again, 1987, this was their groundbreaking album, which they never really, for me, they never lived up to the promise of this album. This was so good, and then they just quickly turned into corporate rock halls after that, sadly. But this, as you can see, it's an original cover with the original band artwork. Again, it's a great album. It's in great nick, and I've had this since 1987. So when I got it, it did have some stickers in with like the logo and some individual stickers of the band members portrayed as skulls. That's long gone, but I've still got this. So this is one of the jewels in my collection. Put that down there. Next up, a relatively new album. We've got Neil Young's Colorado, well, Neil Young and Crazy Horse Colorado from 2019. This is superb. I mean, I'm a big fan of Neil Young, and this is it's 2 discs. 3 sides are actually taken up with songs. The 4th side, I don't know if you can tilt that around so you can kind of see it. It's got this beautifully etched Crazy Horse logo on there. Can you see that? I think you can. Really nice. I mean, this album, I watched a clip from a documentary about the recording of this album, and it does look like they just recorded it, sat in the studio and recorded it live. Neil's a big stickler for sound, and so this is such a dynamic album. My favourite track is going to be She Showed Me Love, which is like a 13-minute just ramble, basically, in the style of Down by the River to some degree. Maybe not as dynamic as that song, but it is brilliant. You can just put this on, sit down, bring the lights down and lose yourself. But the whole album is phenomenal. So if you've not caught up with this yet, I totally recommend it. This was quite expensive, actually. This was 45 quid, I think, and I had to take it back. The first copy, I mentioned this in my rant video. I had to take it back because it had some little pebbles of vinyl that hadn't melted stuck in it, so it caused quite a few playback issues. But it is a brilliant album. Well worth the money, but you can listen to it on streaming. You can get it on CD for a lot less, but it depends on what you want. Personally, I would go for the vinyl copy. Next up, sticking with some kind of nostalgia, I guess, I've got Diguelo, ZZ Top. This is a reissue, so it's a 2011 reissue from what I can gather, but the album was originally recorded in 1979. This is it's quite a nice reissue. So it comes in this little sleeve, and then you've got the album itself, and then you've got the original cover reproduced inside. Great songs, great sounding record. I've seen a few disparaging reviews of this whole thing, but I think it's a great. And I think I got this 2 for 30 at HMV, but I've seen it online for about 14 quid. So you know, fill your boots. It's well worth it. Put that away. Okay. Let's see what we've got next. So, a real favourite of mine, Angel Dust. I remember when this album came out and it was such a world away from the real thing, and We Care a Lot. It was such a mixed album as well. There's so many different things going on this album, some killer tracks. Small Victories being probably my favourite. There are, on this album, it's a 2-disc reissue. There are some bonus tracks on side 4, As the Worm Terms, Das Schützenfest, Let's Lynch the Landlord, which was the B-side to one of the singles. Definitely that might have been Be Aggressive. Kindergarten Live, Be Aggressive Live, and We Care a Lot Live. Everything else is there. There's also a remix of Midlife Crisis, and there's an outtake for a track called The World Is Yours. So this was reissued, this was released in 1990, I think, or 1992. 1992, but it was reissued in 2015. Don't buy it, because it's a dreadful pressing. It's flat. It was disappointing when I got this. I mean, I paid 30 quid for it, so I was really disappointed that it sounded so bad. It's flat. I don't know whether I've got an issue with non-fill on this record, because there's some distortion, some fuzz on some of the tracks that shouldn't be there. So yeah, sadly, this is a great album, and it's been nicely packaged and everything, but it's just taking no care with the quality control, which is a real disappointment. But it's still a great album. So again, if you don't want to shout, well, I wouldn't shout out the money for this. I'd try and dig out an OG copy if I were you, if there is one. I'm not sure if there is one. I can't remember if they released it on vinyl or not, to be honest, but it's one I'm going to be looking out for. Next, 2 more to go. Next, this is this band that I'm about to show you actually kind of got me back into music. I've been really into music, then years ago I got married and I kind of it fell by the wayside, and then I thankfully split with that person, and then I'm with somebody new, and still wasn't really sort of well into music. I had some stuff, but I saw, looking online, and I saw this image of this band and I thought, wow, they look interesting. And so I went out and got the album that had been released at the time, back in 2015, and it was phenomenal. And that was it. That kind of reignited my passion for music. That one album, which was Meliora by the band Ghost. This obviously isn't that album. This is their latest, or their last album, called Prequel. And if you're not familiar with Ghost, they're a sweet. Well, the brain behind everything is Swedish, a gentleman called Tobias Forge, and he is pretty much a genius, I think. He writes and arranges all the tracks. He's responsible for the band's whole image, their whole thing, their whole shtick with this sort of satanic pantomime, which is what it is essentially. There's nothing new at all, nothing original, but it's packaged so well. It's hard to actually sort of pin them down. They're not heavy metal, they are definitely rock, but there's a lot of pop sensibilities in there, particularly on some. I mean, Dance Macabre on this album is just a belter, as is Rats. It's got everything there. He seems to be able to pull from loads of different generations of rock music, loads of different genres as well, and he really manages to mix it all together and create some fantastic stuff. And I've just heard they're going back in they're back in the studio now, so I'm really excited to see what's going to come from that. But again, this is 2019. It's beautiful. I would like to see them do like a double album reissue of it all, in 45 RPM. That would be brilliant. But if you get a chance to check it out, you know, really do. It is, you won't be disappointed. And sticking with Sweden, is a band that I think are criminally underrated. The Electric Boys. Very sort of funky, groovy rock. It's guaranteed to get your foot stomping. Again, the Swedes just seem to be able to write catchy melodies. It's kind of got that pop sensibility, but it's still very rocky, and they're still going now. They've just had a single and a video release called Super God. I think they've got a new album coming out, and all power to them for sticking at it. They've not had a massive, they've not got a massive back catalogue. This was their first album, and it is a beauty. It is. Psychedelic Eyes, All Lips and Hips, Rags to Riches, Electrified, Captain of My Soul, everything. This is an original 1990 pressing. I've had this again since then, and you know, I'm going to try and track down the rest of the albums if I can on vinyl, ones that were released on vinyl. But yeah, give it a listen. So that's kind of everything that I've been digging this week in between sort of work and dealing with rats. Don't ask. I do have some vinyl finds to show you. Now, again, I don't know what it's like where you are in the world. We, sadly, in England are still in a lockdown, so it's difficult to get out anywhere and see anything. But I've been digging around online, and I've just got 3 to share with you. The first one is actually a 45 7-inch single by Gillan. It's an EP. Its main track is No Laughing in Heaven, and then it's got Lucille on the B side and a track called Bad News. And sorry, also as well on side 1 it's got a track called One for the Road. Interestingly enough, I put side 2 on, and I put it on the wrong speed, and it didn't sound any different until the singing started. It sounded like, I don't know, if you'd actually listen to it at 45 RPM, the actual track sounds like it's being speeded up, and then someone just actually sung the song over it. So whether that's how they recorded it, I don't know. But again, you know, it's a great little 45. I think I paid about £2 for it. It is it's one of the first things I've got that's got, I don't know if you can see that there. There's that little hole. So it's had the hole drilled through it. I can see you through it there, which I believe was a big practice when they had like surplus stocks of stuff that didn't sell well. They would take it back, drill a hole through it, and then it would get sold dirt cheap. I think another way of doing it would be to clip the corners. I've got an album somewhere that's got a corner clip. But yeah, it's a great little single. Next up is another recommendation by Daryl from Dylan. Apologies, it's been a long day. Dylan from Noble Records. Sorry if you're watching, Dylan, thank you. This is Witch, and it's their Lazy Bones album. I think this is the only album they ever actually managed to get to release. Now, this album will amaze you because it's Zambian. It's a Zambian band from 1975, and this is a German reissue, and I think it was reissued in 2011. And I mean, that's the band. There they are on the background there. So we've got Chris Maway, John Moomer, Gideon Malenga, Boydie Sinkala, and Emmanuel Jagari Chanda. And I hope if any of you are actually watching this that I pronounce those names right. You know, it will blow your mind. You know, I thought, Dylan's just like, you know, he's talking rubbish. It can't be any good, and it is. I mean, sound-wise, it sounds a bit like a demo rather than, you know, a finished product. But then again, it's 1975, it's in Zambia, you know, I'm guessing that the equipment that they recorded it on wasn't the best ever. But it is really good. There's a nice little thing on the back here that says, if you're feeling depressed, low, disturbed, irritable, out of sorts, sad, frustrated, or widely demented, then folks, we suggest you seek out a quiet place, indulging some soothing meditation, and cut away that headache by listening to this inspirational album. In brackets it says, we've even included a copy of our lyrics to assist those who have difficulty in understanding the messages we transmit, in the hope that this will help them dig the LP in total. Sadly, this copy doesn't have those. We would also like to extend our thanks to all those who've supported us in the past. We wish you well, brothers and sisters. To those of you who have been unkind and deliberately troublesome, we suggest you go jump in the lake specially featured for you on our cover. In closing, a special tribute to our collaborator Shadik Bwalia for his tremendous contribution to this album. It's a really good album. It's 10 tracks of weird kind of 70s Zam rock, I suppose you'd call it. That's what Dylan referred to it as, I remember. So yeah, if you get a chance to actually catch up with this album, check it out. I do think it's on Amazon Music, so you might be able to listen to it on there. I'm not sure. I know the previous recommendation that I got with the Gaston, My Queen, that was on there. So give it a check. Really good. And the final one, the final jewel in the crown, was this Never a Dull Moment, Rod Stewart, 1972 studio album. This was a bargain. Got it off eBay for £2 plus postage, so I think I ended up paying £5 for it in total. When the advert on eBay, and I'm going to do I think a video about some of the pitfalls I've encountered, but the listing did say the vinyl is in VG/X condition, suggesting that it was tip top. Yeah, it wasn't. It was far from being tip top. It did sound like somebody was eating a packet of crisps over it while I was listening to it the first time. However, I've cleaned it up, which again I might do another video about, because I've actually found the cleaning process through trawling and through thousands of hours of YouTube and loads of trial and error. I've actually did something that worked, so I will share that with you. But this is phenomenal. I mean, it's a really weird album because the record slips in the top here, and then the cover opens like that. So you've got some live shots there of Rodders doing his thing. And then it opens on the back as well to kind of reveal all the collaborators that work with him on this album. So yeah, there's quite a few famous people there, including Ronnie Woods there at the back, stood up at the back, third from this side. So I'm trying to sort of see, yeah, that's Ronnie Wood there. There's Molly the dog down here, who obviously was very important in the recording process. But yeah, Never a Dull Moment. It's a great album. It's got some great tracks on it, including You Wear It Well, which is, you know, a really, really good song. True Blue, Lost Paraguayos, Mama, You've Been on My Mind, Italian Girls, Angel, I'd Rather Go Blind, and Twisting the Night Away. Wow, crazy. So yeah, that for £2, you can't go wrong. And that, I'll do that in a minute, that kind of concludes everything this week. Please, if you've liked what you've seen, hit the like, and most importantly the subscribe button. That would mean a tremendous amount to me. Again, thank you for all the nice comments you've left on the previous videos. I'm going to go and try and answer some of those today, because I've been a bit busy lately, and I will be seeing you soon for more vinyl hijinks. Until then, take care, be well.